turn it over to you, Jeff. So this week we have an opportunity to hear about why, or not so much why we have a hiring gap, because we know that, but how we can do better in attracting and retaining employees. And Jeff will explain, as a business coach, he's got a great perspective along with a great set of resources for how to attract and retain employees. So Jeff, it's all yours.
So can I share, let's see, can you get me to, so I can share a screen?
Go for it.
All right. Share, and let's go slideshow. All right, so I want to talk today about hiring. And we don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm going to go through this quickly, but I think you're going to get a good understanding of the issues that are in place today. So why is good talent hard to find? Well, you know, they're out there. Your ideal candidates for every one of you are out there. The challenge is they're working for somebody else. And so you have to then treat this as a marketing. You know, in the old days, you used to be able to put a job posting out and you would attract lots of employees. And you can still do that today. But the candidates you're going to attract are not the candidates that you probably want to have for your position, because the good ones are working for somebody else. So you have to go above and beyond in terms of the reach out. And it becomes much more of a marketing exercise so that you are sending messages and you're appealing to those ideal candidates. And we'll get into that. And this, you know, this is something to keep in mind. Success comes by design, not by luck. And when I work with business owners, they're so focused on the day-to-day, and they're up on the roof, they're in the back cooking the hamburgers, they're designing the web pages, whatever it is, that they don't spend enough time thinking about their team and creating the corporate culture that is going to attract their ideal candidates. And so they get, you know, they don't spend time on it. So why would an ideal candidate want to work for them? They wouldn't. And so they get average candidates. So we saw this on Jared's question. The first thing you got to do as an owner is you got to spend time in the business creating an environment where an ideal candidate would want to work. You know, and what does that mean? That means these are the things that they have to spend time on. You know, identifying the core values of the business. What is and in the essence, this is who the company is, the core values. Team morale. You know, are the employees empowered? Are they listened to? Are they cared for? Is this an ideal place that somebody would want to work? Leadership. How inspiring is the owner? How motivating is the owner? How much does the owner care about the employees? You know, rules. Are they rigid? Are they relaxed? Are they professional? These are all the types of things that owners need to think about in creating the corporate culture that will appeal to that high quality candidate who is, again, working for somebody else. It's someone who's working for somebody else. For all intents and purposes, they may be happy where they are. So to lure them to at least pick up the phone and call you, you've got to create an environment that they would appeal to them. And that goes to the posting. And it all starts as well with the environment, but then it moves into the candidates. Have you identified who your ideal candidate is? And I don't mean by name, but in terms of the roles and responsibilities. And I have that. Here's a job description that has some roles and responsibilities in it. But, you know, also the skills. And the skills here aren't just the technical skills. It's not, have they ever sold insurance before? Are they licensed? Or how many, you know, It's the soft skills as well, the personal skills, because we all know, we've all been in situations where very talented people are disruptive to the team environment. They're cancerous. And so you're better off not having them on the team, even though they have the skills that you need. So you've got to, and as you're reviewing candidates, you've got to look at both the technical skills that they have, but also the personal skills, and perhaps even weight the personal skills a little more highly than the technical skills. Now, there's some professions where the technical skills are key, but even in those cases, you've got to look at the personal traits as well. And this is one that's critical. This is where I was talking earlier about being out and marketing your business. you've got to create excitement in the job postings. If it's a bland old job posting, and I'll show you an example, you're going to attract an average candidate, and you may not, these days, you may not even attract any candidates. So let's look at, I went out and pulled up a job posting. This is for an electrical company in New Zealand. And they do the following: current electric registration, previous electrical fault, the position via cell phone. This is all very bland, not very motivating stuff. This is not going to attract somebody who is working for another electrical company and is happy where they are. But look at this one. This is also from New Zealand. Our team prides themselves on delivering professional solutions to our clients on time and on budget. Our people have built such a strong reputation in the market. We need another superstar to join the team. We're not looking for your average Sparky, though. We want someone who focuses on getting the job done right the first time. It's a whole different approach to the job posting. And this is one that's more apt to pique the interest of a top quality electrician who's working at another company. This sounds like a company I would enjoy working for. The other one just sounds like any other electrical company and is not something that's going to attract top talent. So, then there's the whole screening process. How are you screening your candidates? Is it just you? Do you have questions that are geared at really digging in to understand who you're hiring? Or are you just trying to fill a vacant seat on the team and will take anybody? And I caution against that. I've worked with owners that was their approach, and 6 months later, they'd have to fire that person and start all over again. So, asking the right questions. Are you asking the questions that get at those personal skills, those competencies that are needed? Are you looking to hire top-notch talent, or are you just willing to accept anybody? Because if you have a team of everybody's, you can't expect to have anything but anybody results, right? You're going to get average results, and that's oftentimes not what the owners want. But they don't hire the team, the engine, to get them to the superior results that they're looking for. Now, the worst thing is to hire a bunch of the best of the bad bunch, and that's what happens a lot of time. And it's because it takes longer to find good talent. They're out there, but you just have to know how to find them. And then lastly, it's all about onboarding, right? I mean, so the most excited day that the employee has in working for you is the first day. They're excited. You've got them pumped up. They're looking forward to working in this culture. They understand, that you're a great leader, And that first day they come in, you're not ready for them. You forgot that they were coming in today. You put them at a desk and they have nothing to do. And they have to go, they don't have cards. The phone hasn't been set up. Nothing has happened. And all of a sudden that enthusiasm, that excitement they had is now gone down to the point of, oh my God, have I made a mistake? Did I leave a great job to come here? And suddenly you've got an employee that has gone from mountaintop down into valley. And you got to avoid that, because getting them back up excited again is a little bit of a challenge. So you've got to think through and schedule. When I work with owners, I help them schedule out the first 2 weeks of that new employee's involvement. Who's taking them to lunch? What are they going to talk about? Have you set up the PCs? Have they gotten all the authorizations they need to access the systems? So that they immediately come on board, they immediately get involved, and their career with you starts on a really high note. So, here's some ideas. Introduce, paperwork, get the paperwork to confirm compliance with your culture, how to deal with homeowners, instructional videos, anything along those lines has to happen early on to get the employee to keep up that enthusiasm that the employee has when they come on board. And again, you get what you deserve. If you don't put the time in it, if you think that you can just go out and put a job posting out and you're going to attract people, as we're finding out now, you'll be in for a big surprise. It's going to be much harder to find top quality if this is the approach you take. If you take the approach that we've kind of very quickly gone through of thinking about your culture, creating an environment where people are going to want to work, the word will get out. You know, the ideal is to have a waiting list for people to work for you, right? But that's not going to happen if you're not spending a lot of time building that corporate culture and where people want to come to work for you. Hal, that's all I had. I was thinking I had 7 minutes and I tried to keep it to that. I'm sure that everybody has questions.
And I think that's the part we like about this, Jeff, is that you've thrown out some things like the job description's intentional, the corporate culture, you got to do in advance. The job description can have a little bit of fun in it. So I'm curious, you know, Kurt, you said you're looking for somebody, so you're in a good position to just give us some insights about what you're planning. And I'll share a quick story because Jeff helped me over the last couple of months go through this process, and even to the point where the job description said dog owner's preferred sense of humor required in part of the job description. And I got to tell you that by putting that in there, it just seemed to make a little bit of a difference. That the people we talked to were I don't know, it just worked out really well. So Kurt, what's your thoughts?
I believe culture is huge. Getting people into the right place at the right time, in a desk with some semblance, whether they have a phone on the first day or not, it really doesn't matter, but just to get an assessment of company culture, creating that company culture is key. You know, this is a good place to work. This is a good place to enjoy. How, honestly, I'm finding it hard to just do all of the duties with only one person. That's why I'm looking for a second, because I've got a big meeting at 1:30 that, you know, okay, is the food going to get here? And, you know, all the ins and outs of it. And then I've just got my calendar because I've checking my emails because I was gone last week. I've got 3 days of the week that I'm out. So Thursday, I'm going to be going to Dobbins Air Force Base. So, you know, days like that where my boss expects me to still get appointments, still do these other things while I'm out doing that. You know, it's really what all of us are thinking anyway.
Okay, so
yes,
so you think the culture that Jeff talks about is on target for sure.
That's how you get the good people.
So I'm curious that people like Scott and Brad, you're working with established companies that have a sizable number of employees. What are you seeing that aligns with what Jeff was bringing up? What's aligned with getting good people?
I mean, I guess from my standpoint, you know, we're more on that corporate culture, sort of, you know, giving a reason to come in the office, giving, you know, some excitement built up as far as like, you know, the group, the operation, the experience that is, you know, that specific employer. You know, I think we try to do the same thing, but yeah, like you know, you said, like almost have a waiting list as far as like, oh, I want to go work there, versus having to go out and, you know, dig it out of the dirt.
I would just add to that, I guess from my perspective, I've seen companies try to be more intentional, whether it's about creating that culture and communicating that. So they've gone beyond, I think before a lot of them kind of did, I call it the superficial following Google, where, you know, they're like, well, we got a ping pong table in the break room and some other things, but now everybody's working remotely or mostly remotely or hybrid, and it's okay, maybe that ping pong table doesn't have as much pull as it once did, or, you know, what's really meaningful to these folks. And so for some of them, it's about just being flexible. So I know a lot of them, what I've heard from them is that they've really struggled with those that are working parents, where they may have kids and they have elderly parents or childcare issues, and they have, so they're trying to, and one of the benefits I've seen them offer, which is kind of newer that they haven't done in the past, which is offer to, you know, pay for like a home office setup and, you know, do some of these extra things that are catered around the remote worker.
So Jonathan, Jared, you work with businesses all the time. Do you get a sense of who's struggling to hire and what suggestions are, you know, what's going to help them?
I've talked about, sorry, Jonathan, I'll go quick. I've talked about this a bunch with my customers. I work with a lot of pool companies, for example, and a lot of them are hiring, they're not hiring rocket scientists or anything, but they're also dealing from a pool of people that, like you said, Jeff, I think that was a perfect point, that the ones that you really want to hire are working for somebody else. And one thing they struggle with is it's a tight-knit community-ish, and they kind of know everybody, know who those good employees are, and I think they're worried about pulling employees from other employers that they know, and so there's a little hesitancy there. What would you tell them?
What would I
that's-
tell them? I'm sorry.
I have one that basically said, I know good guys at XYZ company. I'd love to hire them, but I also don't want to burn the bridges with, my buddy that owns that company. I don't know what to tell them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can attract that person without directly reaching out to them, can't they? I mean, you can
Yeah, I'm
build
sure they could.
that reputation and that, wow, this would be a great place to work without having to reach out to that guy or that woman, and let them come in. The whole key is they come to you, right? Rather than you having to go out and try to hunt and peck and find these people. So if you can create that environment and develop the reputation as a great place to work, those people that are working for other pool companies are going to be thinking about, geez, I'd love to go work for Jared.
No, that's a good point. And they do a lot on social media. I know they have like every other Friday, they have like a party with their employees, like not a party, like a cookout or whatever with their employees. That, the people that they're looking to attract probably see that. That's a good point.
And Jonathan, what are you seeing anything, or Sabine, are you seeing anything with your clients and prospects, hiring problems and how they're handling it?
Well, there's nobody in the pool. The pool is empty. I've got a client in Pickens County. They're one of the largest employers in the area, over 250 employees. And, they would love to have, a vaccine mandate. They would love to do lots of things, but honestly, they just need people to show up every day to do the job. And between COVID and where I think at one point, 20% of their workforce was out sick with COVID. And the benefits, which are now being reduced or cut to encourage people to get back to work, that's going to help get people back into the workforce. But, 2 or 3 of my clients, they're just trying to survive with what they have. So that's what I'm saying. And, a comment to what some of you were talking about regarding company culture, and back, before I started saving companies money on their taxes, I was engaging in discussions on company culture. And, the question, and this is a longer conversation with Jeff for sure, is, well, what if the culture sucks? So you can't say, well, check out our culture, but your culture doesn't match with your billing, right? And so I've had longer conversations with clients, well, how do we change our culture? And it's easier to turn a Yugo than it is to turn an aircraft carrier. And so culture is 3 things. Again, a longer conversation, but just to put it in a frame is culture is norms, it's values, and it's beliefs. What are the norms day in and day out? What do you value and what do people believe? And if those 3 things don't match up with the corporate vision statement, you're screwed because your culture is garbage. So that's something I'd be interested in hearing more about what Jeff has to say. And by the way, when companies would ask me, well, how do we change company culture? And my response was this: if you're not willing to jump in the pool, we love talking about pools, right, Jared? if you're not willing to jump in head first and give everything you've got to to changing your norms, your values, and what your people believe. Don't even waste your time and money.
Jeff, what do you say? What do you say to
Oh,
all that?
absolutely right on. And it all starts right at the top, right? Oftentimes the people that are saying they want a good culture aren't willing to take the time or make the effort in order to make those changes that Jonathan's talking about, to the norms and the values. They haven't identified their core values. You know, it's like they don't see the need for it. Well, okay, so that's one ding against your corporate culture. So absolutely, I'm absolutely agree with what Jonathan's saying.
So what I know of everybody on this call, although probably Kurt the least, is that everybody's product can help other companies impact their culture. Like Lee's data and such. Recycling is a quality, and data's destruction or protection of the data, right, becomes a natural way of doing business. And Jonathan talks about training. That's part of your culture, or it's not. So it seems like, Jeff, it seems like all of us can have impact to somebody's company culture that would help them in turn attract and retain good employees.
Absolutely, sounds that way. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Well,
I agree.
we're going to wrap up and let you know what's coming up. So Jeff, thank you so much for that input. And let's come back over here and let you know that you can reach Jeff and schedule an appointment with him. And quick chuckle for what's coming up. We're hiring low pay and I would be curious who
Perfect
actually
culture,
applied
right?
for that. See if they were for real.
Hey, at
So.
least they're honest, right?
Yeah. That's
So
great.
we've got events coming up. We're going to stick with the the second and fourth Tuesdays.